BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season is in full swing, and we're into the home stretch for NBA and NHL playoffs. And there's more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the MLB, NHL, and UFC. And in between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino. All the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino action. So BetOnline, the game starts here.
Anyway.
All right. So did any of you guys watch Dynamite this week?
Yes.
And you what? Did you watch it, Harry?
Of course.
All right. Let's talk about this. So the show opened once
On
again.
Max.
We got a
Right.
number.
I watch it. Oh, you do get a number?
I saw it earlier. It's 6:29.
6:29.
You have the quarter hours?
Not yet.
Better than last week.
Yes.
Last week was
So
the worst ever, wasn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
yeah, but there was a lot
Oh,
of
no.
counter programming though. There was a lot of good games on. So and that was actually the first week of the basketball and the hockey on the playoffs. So it's like, you knew they weren't going to do that great. Now what you can look for with ratings is if these games are blowouts or not. You can get trickled down. You can get any headway on with Brandon Thurston. Did you text him and ask him if he could get that information on the quarters for the sports?
Yeah, no, I don't know what happened. I was talking to him a little bit, and then he stopped answering me like a couple months ago and doesn't.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
He doesn't even respond to you?
Yeah, I don't know if he's busy.
Him and his
the show,
partner.
so.
Who was that guy? John something Pollock or something like that. He does a show with.
Oh, does he? John Pollock.
They've been
Konan's been on with John
excommunicated from the scrums in WWE.
Oh,
They got heat with WWE.
Thurston
I saw them
and
post
Pollock?
on YouTube. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like there was something that the WWE over something. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but All right.
I mean, they questioned some stuff about the economics of stuff with WWE, I heard, and probably that just ticked them off and said, we don't need you here.
I'd imagine
Right.
if someone at the scrum was kind of asking Hunter about either the Vince lawsuit or the racial stuff, that maybe they kind of go,
Or the
Filmmaker.
ring boy stuff.
right,
I think
right.
it's the stuff they don't want to talk about right
Yeah.
now. Why would you? It's from
Yeah.
30 years ago. Like
Right.
they're bringing it.
Today's show. Yeah.
It's like unearthing, fossil fuels or something. Like, all right. So let's get to AEW. AEW. We're going to repeat this every week, but they open up with no recap. Okay.
Though they did have more video packages than usual.
Okay. And they had so Kenny Omega, Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, Mark Briscoe against Okada, Ricochet, and the Young Bucks. They had ring entrances for all of these guys, and it wasn't the best idea in the world because a lot of the guys did not get a pop on their ring entrance.
And I'll say this, as a diehard fan, when Briscoe was the first person to come out, I was like, why are you starting the show with this guy? All
Right.
due respect. I'm like, and I didn't even remember he was in the match because I was like, wait, there's a lot of talent in this match. And Briscoe was a part of that, but I didn't remember he was part of that. I was like, another Briscoe match?
Yeah, and Tony does not. Maybe because he's not a traditionalist. He never really adheres to the basic rules of ring entrances. Like heels first, baby faces second, champion. The challenger first, champion second. Sometimes that they don't. It's like they don't even. They don't care. Maybe that's because they don't have the production meeting. Somebody says, "Hey, shouldn't the champ be the second entrance?" Whatever. I don't know.
Or I know that they built up to Kenny. I would have started off with Kenny. Just
Right.
him be the first guy out
First
there,
guy
and
you
people
see,
be
right.
like, I got to watch this.
Right. So this was a typical. I thought this would just be a ridiculous spot fest, but it wasn't just a completely ridiculous spot fest. They did have some ridiculous spots. The missed elbow. The elbow drop spot.
No, I'll tell you the other
like,
one.
Bro, well, let me say it real quick. You don't, bro. That's an indie spot. You just keep
That's
that
a
for the indies,
PWG
right?
spot.
Yeah, exactly. You don't. That's not because the rest of the match was kind of like it's like they had some really good stuff, but then because you probably 8 guys in there giving their ideas, they would throw in some of the ridiculous stuff, and then they go back to some of the good stuff. There was actually a lot of decent stuff in this because I watched this from start to finish, even though it was excessively long,
Oh, yeah.
26 minutes. But the funny, I just got to say, I know this fan base loves New Japan and stuff and all that, right? And Okada is like, but bro, you're over here in the States now. You need a better finish. I know that's his signature finish, but that's just a short arm clothesline. And in the middle of all the million things they do in this, it's kind of flat. for a finish for the TV viewer. Well, like wow, they beat him with that. That's for new fans of that product. I think they'll look at that and go, wow, that was kind of like, they won with
That was
that,
it?
right? Yeah, it's been, so I would
Bro,
have had
if he
Okada
hit
go over. Go
that,
ahead.
if he hit that finish like he does a lot in Japan, we try to decapitate you, it
Mhm.
would be over. Like I told you before, Okada was one of my favorite wrestlers. This is the Americanized version of Okada, just like the Americanized version of Nakamura. Even Kenny Omega, he fights at such a higher level in Japan, and
Right.
then everybody comes here and takes the night off, even though this is my type of match because a lot of lucha moves, okay?
Right.
But like you said, there was some spots where you're like, come on, dude, at
Right,
least
right. Yeah, why are we doing this?
make an effort to make it
Right.
look more. I'll give you an example. Did you see the one where they had the two guys ready, like kind of for the Meltzer driver, and then
Right. Oh, yeah. They were saying they flipped and they did it right.
yeah,
It's
and
like,
they're just
yeah,
waiting for them there, and I'm like,
right,
bro, that looked so hokey.
right,
Why can't you know what I'm saying?
right.
And so those things do it's kind of like a pet peeve. But I really like this match.
What have done about the length?
Too long, way too long.
26 minutes for what?
Yeah,
What
way
you're
too
getting
long.
at.
Yeah.
Harry, what you think of this match?
Two commercial breaks in
Yeah.
there. It's like it just felt like it dragged. But at the end of the day, for me, just getting to see Kenny and Okada in the same ring for the first time in like 7 years, it's like, all right, we're finally gonna get this done, and it's gonna be an all in, and it's gonna be a banger of a match. I really enjoyed it, but yeah, there was a moment where even Tony Schiavone said in commentary, is like, this match is still going on, or
Right,
something
yeah,
like that. Or I was like,
yeah.
I looked down at the clock, I was like, yeah, that's been like 20 minutes already.
Bro, the first half hour of the show, this is you took like two commercial breaks. So
You could almost kind of tell that Omega couldn't. How long had it been that he hasn't wrestled in AEW, Harry?
Here, let me see right here. I got
let me
Because
say
he
about
looks
this
pumped
spot, though.
up, man. Like I'm ready to come back and rock and roll. Yeah.
Okay, but let me
Yes,
make a point
so
here.
he
too,
had
about
the
this
match against Bailey and Ricochet in the pay-per-view early April.
Let me
That
make a
was his
point
last
about this match too. Another thing, and I've talked about this a couple weeks for the past few weeks, bro. It's like all these guys are doing all the crazy spots, and everything. But notice, what is Ricochet doing in these matches? A lot of character work, like
Yep.
the stuff like he's like letting these guys do all the crazy stuff. I'll just do a couple of them. You guys can do all your spots, but I'm going to do the arm breaker spot with Matt Jackson. Like yeah, he just like, bro, he gets it. He sticks out in these matches because he's not just doing the spot fest. He's doing character work, which is why his new character is getting over really well. So
What a great old school spot, right? The thing with the
yeah,
arm.
the hand did the arm. Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They did it
Oh,
good because they played.
you know
it up
what's
real good.
funny?
He reached back and felt
That
his head,
it's
and he was
right.
like, oh,
It still works.
right. Yeah.
I have a Meltzer said what here that I think might be. Someone sent it to us as well. I think it might be interesting.
Okay, let's
It's
wait
Dave,
till after. What is it
okay.
about?
Dave saying the AEW viewing audience is so disloyal and desperate to leave and consumed by crippling ADHD that they will immediately turn off the show if they are forced to sit through video packages. So it's anti-video package.
Dave, okay, we'll get to that after we
Let me
do
know
one.
Well, they had quite a few on.
Well, you
on
need
this
'em.
show. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
all
I'm
right.
not complaining.
I don't care who cares if the loyal ones are turning it off. They'll turn it off for 2 minutes and they'll turn it right back on. You're trying to like play the packages to the people that didn't watch last week and fill them in so they'll watch the next week and the week after. So I don't know.
So
Okay,
Konnan, it was his third TV match in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
you could just tell he was amped to really go in there, and he knew he had good guys because the Young Bucks look good too. He
Well,
had
by the way,
good workers all around him.
And by
Kenny
TV,
does
I
this.
say either Collision or Dynamite. All right.
I don't like this when Kenny does, but this is one of his signature thing he does, and I just think it looks hokey. I don't like his hop, skip, and a jump before he goes and hits the ropes. He does the knee up, and then like it's hot, bro. It looks cartoonish. I don't just hit the ropes. You don't gotta emphasize. Hey, I'm gonna hit the ropes, and here we go, like like a cart, like the road one. I don't know.
Hey, and also we go back to once you saw the participants of the match, you're like, why is Mark Briscoe here? It's like, oh, he's gonna eat the pin.
Right. Okay, so the next thing we go to the back of the Hurt Syndicate. It shows up, and this was okay. This is just my opinion. This is a very poorly. Whoever the producer was on this, if I would have watched this, okay, I was the producer and they shot this, where these guys are just completely overacting and acting like idiots, right? I would have been like, okay, shoot it again. Guys, relax. All 5 of you aren't trying to get overacting in this. Like when they show up, have one guy, like, one guy talk here and then, like, like one guy should have said something to him. And then he said kicks it and they just beat everybody up. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was a hokey looking segment. But basically, the Hurt Business beat a bunch of jobbers. And, yeah, I don't even know if were they portraying them as wrestlers or just people in the back.
What were their names? Because I think one of them I knew from
I don't even
Ring
know who
of
they
Honor.
were. They didn't introduce any of them. What does that say, Terry?
I did the meet and greet with the Hurt Business, but I took a 3-piece suit and they were like, hey, that's the way you should do it, man.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I got pretty
over. They
with
would have
them.
beaten you up.
All right, so
like those guys.
Yeah.
So the next segment was kind of, I don't know why they did this, but Joe, why don't you talk about this next match?
Oh yeah, Joe.
What happened?
You didn't watch it?
Didn't watch it.
No, I didn't.
Joe.
Joe.
Okay, the Ops, Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs wrestled against a 6-man against Miles Hawkins,
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Rhett Titus,
Yeah.
All right. Ring of
and
Honor
Nick
legend.
Camarado.
Okay.
Nick Camarado, Joe.
Who'd he pin?
He didn't pin anybody. He got beat.
Oh.
Okay, in 3 minutes and 14 seconds by the Ops. I don't know why they had this match. They didn't.
Did he take
After
the
a
loss?
26-minute match, your next match is against a jobber match for the Ops. But afterwards, the Death Riders attacked him with their white T-shirts.
That's why they had it.
And Joe applied the Katina. Joe has done this 2 weeks in a row. He's put the sleeper on Moxley while they're standing up. And Moxley, I don't know, is comically selling it like it looks silly, right? So I don't know. Moxley's I don't know. Moxley doesn't like to sell. When he does, he oversells and makes it absurd. So Claudio actually gave his finish on top of a chair in the ring on Shibata, which looked very devastating. And then
which he had done to Hook a couple of weeks ago.
So then they ran back in the ring and ran off the Ops, but they got the heat on Shibata, and then Joe cut a promo and challenged Mox to fight him in a steel cage.
And that promo was pretty awkward with Moxley and his Death Riders walking away and not looking back. And then he even extended himself, and the commentary had already started talking, and then Joe kept on going, and it was awkward.
Right.
Awkward outs. We're used to it.
I don't know. I think a better visual on this would have been if they didn't have the match. The match was unnecessary because what they were getting on this is because that's basically the segment is Joe challenging Moxley. Maybe Joe should have come out and challenged Moxley. Match. They come out and they lay them, but then the other two guys come out and they stand tall and they have a verbal confrontation. I don't know why they didn't really, because they got heat on Shibata here, but then they cut a promo after the heat while he's lying in the ring, and then he walked off with them at the end. So it's like, I don't know, just kind of awkward there. What'd you think?
When a couple of weeks back, Hook was completely out after that move.
Right. Yeah. When they haven't even really, bro, they haven't even mentioned Hook's name.
They did on the show today.
Oh, they did? What did they say?
Yeah, they did say that. They said, it was like, oh, it's the same. Taz mentioned it. That's what they did to Hook.
Oh, and so they're saying, so they're playing the injury angle because they did that to Hook.
And apparently Hook is going to be in a movie, so that's why he's out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I always heard that he wants to be an actor. He's always wanted to be an actor. Wrestling was like a vehicle to get noticed, maybe. So I'm not surprised.
So did you watch the show, Joe, or no?
No, I didn't see Dynamite. No, I saw Raw and SmackDown, but not Dynamite.
Wednesdays, what do you got?
I know you're like, oh, you got Wednesdays are hard, and I put out a lot of shows this week. I'm usually editing right after we finish. It just sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah.
All right, Cody, are you going to comment on this match?
Which one?
The segment, this whole segment, the Ops and.
Yeah, like you said, was that necessary to kind of beat 3 jobbers? Have these guys ever even won on the show?
Like they needed to win. They're already the champions. They don't need the win.
Right.
You know?
Maybe they're just trying to build them up even more. But you've got so many people there that have more value, where it means more. Because everybody, when they came into the ring, you knew they were going to get destroyed.
Mercedes Moné is interviewed by Renee Paquette in a sit-down, and she said she's on a global mission. The Owen Hart Cup tournament is about her and her legacy. The Renee is about Jamie Hayter's size and strength advantage. Mercedes pointed to the fact that she's undefeated. Claimed the wrestling world runs on Monet time, and it insisted Hayter for her Scooby-Doo style and said a champion can't look like a cartoon. I'm not impressed with her mic work. So then they had
I will say this.
Yeah.
she's gotten better than last year and when she was in WWE. I think, I don't know. I
I
just
don't
think
know. I just think she's overacting in a heel persona, and it just comes across as a cringe. I'm not a fan of it.
yeah,
But
Her
that's
best
me.
work is as a heel, though. Her best work is as a heel.
So next up, Nick Wayne is in the back and asked about heading to
that's
the
true.
Japan for the Battle of the Super Juniors. Christian cut him off and answered him. Well, he's cut off immediately by Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal comes in and says he asked for a match with Wayne for the Ring of Honor Television Championship, and Wayne refused, but then Christian he accepts, and so then they're going to go have a match. That was actually good, another good. No, this was a short segment, but once again, Christian was very good.
Huh?
Impactful.
Oh, by
Yeah.
the
It's like,
way,
the stuff he does always hits.
okay. By the way, and this is the problem with this faction, and Christian isn't really doing them no favors by laying it out like this because I know he's like doing, bro. Has Kip Sabian or Nick Wayne's mother uttered a word in the past have they said anything other than
Nothing.
just stand there in like the past like 2
Right.
months? Has it been?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, his mom needs like give her at least one line every now and then or something.
Never.
She just goes out and stands there. That's going to be the easiest paycheck in the history of professional wrestling is Nick Wayne's mom. Whatever she's getting. What if she's doing it for free though? And maybe they don't let her talk because she's doing it for free. I just want to go. I just want to go out there with my son, right?
The one thing that she was involved with was when Christian brought up that he was potentially like sleeping with her, and
Right.
she was standing right there, and
she made a
walked
face
off.
like,
Yeah,
right.
that's like pretty much all that she's done as of late.
Yeah, but what's funny is that every time Kristen leaves, she goes with him. She doesn't go with his son. Right? And I like how the guy was going, yeah, I didn't, hey, Lethal, I'm sorry. I didn't bring my clothes and I'm not ready and I got to warm up.
Haven't stretched.
Yeah, and then the guy goes, we accept. That was great.
Right, yeah.
Very
So this is it. But by the way, I'm not a fan of this, but this is me. They're talking, bro, on this show, they're really talking up the Super Juniors tournament in Japan. Like I could get, but I'm not going to watch it. Whatever. But okay, so this was it. This was a production glitch in this next thing. I think Toni Storm gets her entrance. Okay, and this should have been done earlier in the show, or this may have been a package that aired on Collision, but they showed a video package for Miyu Yamashita after Toni Storm's ring entrance. Okay, so okay. One of the things they said that they like this Wednesday night on so I'm wondering if they showed the package and this package maybe aired on. Did it air? Did you watch Collision? I
didn't see it in Collision.
Okay, so this was something that maybe like aired, and I think they put it in the wrong place on the show because this should have aired before their entrances even came out, like maybe before the commercial break. But this Miyu Yamashita girl,
just say thank you that we got it, Disco.
Right,
it's better than nothing.
But they're talking about how she has this kick that she does and everything, dude. I don't know why they did this. Okay, Toni Storm is your top girl. This is Yumi Yamashita from something pro or whatever Japanese organization. I have no clue what it is. Bro, she started like Road Warrior no selling her in the middle of this when she was doing the forearms, and she was like walking by like, what are if I was Toni Storm, I would have that's a spot that spot didn't look like it was called because it was very awkward. And if I was Toni Storm, that's a spot where you like
laid it in
or do something. But this Yamashita girl, I don't know. I mean, Toni just loves these Japanese wrestlers. Maybe they got a partnership, but this was weird. But Toni goes over, which she should have, but it was like 8 minutes and 48 seconds. The announcers kept trying to put this girl over as like it's like a big deal. She's got this kick and watch out for whatever. So then Mercedes Moné comes out again on the mic. She told the crowd to shut up and say hello, and then she dressed Toni and said she would come for what she deserves after she wins the Owen Hart Cup. I thought this would have been a pretty good verbal exchange. I want to hear Toni and Monet go at it on the mic, but then I don't know where Jamie Hayter appeared and clocked Mercedes, and then ran Monet off. And then we had the awkward out there where they just like they kept the camera in the segment for too long. Where Tony's just standing there, Jamie's standing there, Monet had ran off and like whatever. But
now you probably didn't notice it, but very awkward out. When they did the video with the Japanese girl, what's her name?
Right.
What's her name?
Yumi
Yamashita, something
Miyu
like
that.
Yamashita. All right. Yeah. Well, they did a video package on her, right?
Right.
And then there was a very awkward ending back.
It cut right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's like, what's going on over there?
I don't know. But this that video package should have been earlier in the show. Like
That I
it was
agree
very,
with too.
yeah. I was like, well, what are they doing here? So
And
so
the thing why I don't think they let Tony and Mercedes still have an interaction talking is because there's still 3 more TVs before the pay-per-view. So I feel
they're
like
doing
they're
the
gonna
Cody
save
Rhodes,
that.
John Cena of the thing.
When's the London show? Could they be saving it for that?
No. So it's gonna be either what you call Mercedes or Jamie going against Tony, and that's gonna be in the pay-per-view. And then in Texas, it's gonna be Tony Storm against either Mercedes or Jamie Hayter. So it's still like 2 months away from that match. So I feel like they're gonna hold it off to that.
So Don Callis hyped up his guys in the back. They said Fletcher would continue their streak and defeat Hangman Page. And Fletcher said he could go on to defeat Will Ospreay and then become the AEW World Champion all in, and everyone would be forced to put respect on his name. So, generic promo.
Bro, they look like they don't hang out together. Josh Alexander looks so out of place in that group.
Right. Yeah, you know what? Callis, bro, they gotta Callis is doing all the talk. He's trying to get himself over here, but if you got to segment with all 4 guys, get to do some interaction in the segment, or I don't know, just be more entertaining. They're all because a lot of these interview segments happen.
Well,
You got a bunch of
Shada,
people out there. One person doesn't talk, and they all just stand there, and then they walk off. It's like kind of weird. So I don't know. So then my favorite part of the show came up. The Hurt Syndicate comes to the ring, and MVP said they need a unanimous vote to add a new member. They were going to do this one more time. So then MJF comes out, and he complimented Benjamin, called on MVP one of his oldest friends in wrestling, and then addressed Bob, gave him a stern look, and MVP rushed to the vote, and both MVP and gave the thumbs up. Then Lashley considered for a moment and actually milked it because he had the thumb and he tilted the thumb up a little bit. The crowd was getting it, and then he gave the thumbs down.
Yeah.
Okay. So then MJF got his face up sick. Said he'd give him cars, money, women, and wondered what would interest him. And then he said he suggested Rogaine and got in Lashley's face. And Lashley grabbed him by the head and backed him into the corner and told him they hurt people. He should get, and he would get hurt if he wanted to get his attention. And then they all left, and MVP and Sheldon are kind of like, what happened there and everything. And but this was I thought this was an awkward out because I like this storyline. Whatever the story, the finish is, like if they beat him up or whatever, they should have done it right there. Now they're extending this like another week, and it's like, I don't know. What'd you think? Should they have pulled the trigger on
Maybe
the heat
well, 2 things. The people are still with it, right? And maybe they're getting good numbers. Do we have the quarter numbers, Joe?
No. Oh, yes. Okay. Hang on.
Right,
Put them up and let's see how Hurt Business did.
They're must-watch TV. Whenever you're getting the Hurt Business and MJF in the ring together, everybody wants to watch right now.
It's 2 of the top probably 4 acts in the company. So they're interacting with each other, which is good. So, like I said, I'm interested in this. So then we do Jay Lethal against Nick Wayne. They did a video package with FTR joining Stokely Hathaway. I don't know. Stokely FTR could have been a standalone heels just with their verbiage. They didn't need they're trying to force them down the fans' throats as heels by putting them with the heel managers. What this looks like, I think you get that vibe too. Right,
they're trying to get more heat on them. I'm like, they don't need it, dude. They already got heat.
Right, because their work they know how to work well enough to get heat. So Jay Lethal against Nick Wayne for the thing, and Nick Wayne beats him clean. Okay, so Christian picked up the Ring of Honor title and placed it around his waist after the match, and they all I thought there was going to be an angle too, and they all just kind of clapped, and then it was over. So I don't know. They've missed a lot of opportunities here for heat spots. Okay, all right. So the show did reasonably well. Wow, this is like one of the first.
Hurt Syndicate is money.
Well, not even that. Look at the main event, Konnan.
It went up.
First time it's up.
How long has it been since we see those type of numbers for the main event? But they built.
Yeah, but that's only the last 5 minutes that has that. We're waiting for the show to be over.
Yeah, but it's still going up though. But so it went down a little bit, then they started wrestling and went up. So, but this would because that should have been the main event of the show because it was the best had two of the biggest stars and they wrestled the main event.
You had stakes in it.
Right, exactly.
It wasn't just the match because it's like you had the finals of the Owen Hart tournament on the line.
Yeah, you look at these numbers and you go like, guys, this isn't hard to figure out. It's like, the main event is the main event, and that's why that does a good numbers. So,
And even though for the mainstream folks, it's not two huge names, it's like they're pretty good. Fletcher
yeah,
isn't a name, but Hangman has been there since day one, so
right.
it proved it.
So this match, which bro, they had a 26-minute match to open the show and a 23-minute match to end the show, and I was like, wow. But this is the right result because I think Konnan, we had discussed this a couple weeks ago. Who would you book in the finals? And I
Right.
think we agree that there's more intrigue in Hangman Page versus Osprey because very interesting too. Okay, and I'm wondering if this is going in this direction. I was surprised that Swerve was not on the show because he's still involved in this storyline, and keeping him off the show completely here, I think, was a mistake. And however, maybe you keep him off a couple weeks to have the fans forget that neither of these guys are going to let the other guy win the title and everything. And if Forbes just stays off TV and then pops up when Page has a world title match and screws him, that continues their storyline. I'm wondering if that's what they were thinking. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it could be. I just think that Swerve should have been there
Right.
because he still has something with Adam Page.
Right.
Thing is, though, it's going to be the first time ever Hangman Page against Will Ospreay.
Right.
If it had been Fletcher against Ospreay, we saw them wrestle like 3 times over the last 4 months. So I don't feel that we needed to see that again. So I like Disco's point of view where it's like, hey, you're saving that Swerve run-in for when
Right.
it matters the most.
So what do you think about this? So who should go over with Swerve and Mox and Osprey?
No, Hangman and
Hangman
Ospreay.
Osprey minute. Hangman Osprey minute.
Dude, either of them I think would be a home run. Take them
Well,
into all
well.
in and
Let me tell you something. They okay. Osprey's still very popular.
yep.
However, he's not really positioned in the spot you want him to be because he's supposed to be the top babyface, but they've just been using him. He hasn't been in like a significant storyline in about a month or so. And he's just doing random matches, doing these tournament matches, stuff, everything, right? Now, my take is it's definitely more compelling where Hangman Page is because that's been his story for 2 years, the title. And you can tie that back into MJF, Swerve, everybody, right? But the problem is now you got Osprey. Dude, Osprey's taken a lot of L's. Like he really can't afford. If you want to keep him up there, like your like your top eight, he can't keep losing all these guys. Like his record against the other top guys is, I think it's under 500, which is
And
not the perception of a guy that you're bringing in as like your top babyface, the greatest wrestler in the world and stuff. Everything. So, what do you think,
If
Parrot?
Osprey wins, it's going to be Osprey against Moxley for the championship. More than likely, Osprey going over, and you can have in a co-main event spot the match between Hangman and Swerve. If Hangman wins, you're going to have that arch going into All In against John Moxley. But now it's like, okay, now what do we do with Osprey? That's the big question mark because it's like, all right, it's going to be Okada and Kenny on one match, and then Osprey. Who are you going to put him in there again? So
Yeah,
I
but
feel,
if you keep having Osprey lose, you're giving all the
yeah.
heels a lot of fodder to talk about in promos because he loses.
I got a perfect guy
Yeah.
for Osprey,
Who?
Nick Camarado.
That's a home run right there.
All right, so
If somebody can have a 5-star match with Camarado, it might be Osprey.
so this show was like all right. I liked some of the stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of you're continuing a lot of storylines here, but like the way they ended a lot of these segments, I don't know. There's just like once again, there's not a lot of heat on this show, and you had a lot of opportunity for like some heat spots here that you didn't. So this is like it's like a typical AEW show. It's like you had some good, like I said, the best thing is you had Hangman Page against Kyle Fletcher in the main event. Used to be that would be the first match on the card, and Tony Storm versus Yumi Mimoshita would have been the main event for like the title, like I guess a nobody Japanese girl. But the ratings that actually the number the viewership numbers on this were actually pretty good. So, you any comment on this, Conan?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this is what I enjoyed from the show for the people that, like our recommendations. If you like lucha, you'll love the first match. You can skip the Ops versus Camarado and those guys. You could skip Tony Storm and Yamashita, even though I like Tony Storm because she's very physical, and so is this girl.
Right. But the girls not look. The problem with the Japanese girls is none of them look fit. It's like just like that. It's like they don't look like they work out.
Yeah, they're
Like
kind
none
of
of
like
yeah, like their body.
a
They
little
don't
bit
have like
flabby. Yeah, like they don't work out their legs.
their legs are strong. You know, there's kind of like I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Harry, what did you think of that? They don't have that juiciness.
Pussy, baby.
I mean, it's we're there to watch the wrestlers, right? To have.
Come on.
Are you?
I'm here so
was
I don't
this
get fined.
Mickey James is. Are you like you know what is it like the Mickey James philosophy of? Did you see that in LFG?
Yeah.
She's complete.
Oh, I heard
Mickey
you
James
talk about
talked
it. I didn't.
she doesn't like these girls like being very risque with their clothing, right?
Right.
So then
So there's
so some of the girls came out like the next match and they were just like shit, like they were all covered up. And Undertaker actually said, she goes, "Oh, I like the girls." And Undertaker goes, "Yeah, Mickey, like you, it's like it's your fault that these girls are looking
coming out
kinda
like
like
this.
plain Janes, right?" Yeah, that was funny. I thought that.
So there's a report that there's a wrestler from Stardom that
Mhm.
just finished up with their company. Tekla, I think is her name. She's
Mhm.
from Austria,
Ooh.
and now the report is that she's going to AEW. So when you said physicality, I'm like, all right, let me go check out her Wikipedia because I've never seen her. 5'1", 115 pounds.
Right.
That's like she's not even big enough to wrestle in the UFC, the strawweight division.
They
or
should
whatever it is.
definitely have like a gnomes division. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
God.
The minis.
Gnomes.
All right, so that's been our
I-
AEW review.
I enjoyed the show. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had pretty bad shows in the last year in 2024. So 2025, I think TV has been entertaining for those of us who like AEW.
Yeah, that like there were 3 matches I liked. I liked
And segments.
the beginning. I liked the Christian segment, right? And I also liked the
MJF and
yeah, and the main event. The main event was very good. Fletcher's very good.
he can go, bro. He
Yeah.
can go. I mean, him and Takeshita, they're two guys that just because they don't have that huge name, they're not recognized as Osprey or as Okada. But I
It's
think
like, bro,
they're at the same level as those guys.
Unless you're somebody very special, you know, it takes time. It takes time to get over with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, so that's been the AEW review.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Boom.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.